Is Judaism too difficult? I'm Gila Ross, host of the Power Up podcast, where we cut through the chase and talk about real life issues to tease apart what's true and what's not, to give you the inspiration you need for your everyday lives. And in this series of Torah for Today, we take a short idea from the weekly Torah portion and use it to impact and upgrade our week. This episode is sponsored for a merit for a complete healing for Suad Bat Daisy. Let me ask you this. Is it too difficult nowadays to live truly authentic, connected Jewish lives? Perhaps the threats and the challenges are internal. It's the stuff that we're going through, our internal challenges that challenge our connection to Judaism, our strength of our relationship to God. Or perhaps it's the world that we live in that makes living by our Jewish values so strange and difficult. Perhaps there are just too many conflicting influences in our surroundings that take us away from our spirituality. If you can relate to this, keep listening. Let me take you back to a strange story that happened in this week's Torah portion. God took them out of Egypt, amazing miracles, the 10 plagues, the sea split, and then he brings them to Sinai and he's about to give them the Torah. And we're told a crazy thing that happened. What happened? God took the mountain of Sinai, suspended it over the Jews' head and said, either you accept the Torah or this shall be your burial ground. Whoa, what's going on? Where's their choice? Did the Jews not have a choice to accept the Torah? Rav Volbe gives an incredible insight, and he says that what happened there was that when the Jews experienced all those incredible miracles from God, the 10 plagues, the splitting of the sea, their choice was taken away. They couldn't understand how they could live without God and without Torah. They had absolute clarity. Clarity. Wouldn't it be great to have clarity? Now, while we don't have that level of clarity, I think we all have had moments of clarity in our life where you hear something or you see something and it's so absolutely clear what you have to do. When we were living in Vancouver, Canada, we weren't sure what to do, and we asked one of the leading rabbis of the generation what to do, and he gave us an answer that I didn't want to hear. He told us that it was time for us to leave Vancouver for the benefit of our kids, and I did not want to hear that answer because we loved Vancouver. And yet, when I let the answer sit in my mind, I had absolute clarity that that was the right thing to do. And when we have that clarity, in the moment that we have that clarity, we know what we have to do. Interestingly, he tells us that there will be a generation where it's going to be too difficult to keep the Torah, to keep all the mitzvot. It's going to be too difficult. The influences around us are going to be so all-encompassing that it's just going to be too difficult. And we cannot judge the people in those generations. But he says there's going to be one thing. And the question that's going to be asked on them is, why didn't you hold on to the Torah? Why didn't you attach yourself to the Torah? Why? Because sometimes we live in the moment, we live in our lives, and it's too difficult. You're right, it is too difficult. But then what's our job? Our job is to connect to the Torah so that we can get that clarity, that inspiration. So when you feel like it's too hard, you know what your job is then? Your job then is to connect to Torah, to ask, to learn, to get inspired so you have the clarity of what you have to do. And in the next episode, I'm going to explain the beautiful way that Torah fills our deepest desire. Thank you for listening. I'm currently offering all listeners a free strategy call so that you can get clarity on how you can get what you want in life. Check the show notes for how to access this offer. Thank you again for listening. Please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast, and please share, because sharing is caring. Thank you and have a wonderful day.